Well, we're thinking that this is the original Route 66 road. So we're approaching a place called Clinton on our way to Elk City, and yeah, Route 66 land. Woo! Woo!
If you're heading due west from Oklahoma City, there's a pretty good chance you're going to be on the I-40. The I-40 is a pretty major highway which heads all the way west across America. And appropriately parallel to this is Route 66. Route 66 was on our thing-to-do list, partially as a matter of necessity and largely as a matter of want, because it's a very iconic highway.
Parking's a good one, honey. Yep, that should do it.
It's a highway that was built after the Second World War to allow people to get out and tour the vast west of America, all the way from LA to Chicago. The beauty of Route 66 is that it winds its way through a number of towns heading across the USA landscape. The unfortunate thing for Route 66, of course, is that it could never hold the traffic demands that it currently has, specifically truck traffic. So the I-40 was built, which runs very much parallel with it.
What an amazing shop.
The Route 66, of course, has still been maintained, so you can get on and off the I-40 as much as you want onto Route 66 if you want to do different legs of that journey. We certainly did want to do a lot of Route 66, however, the I-40 was more often than not more convenient. Yeah, well, so first encounter with buffalo as we head west. Don't know if this guy's got a name, but he come charging over the fence at me to the point that I just wanted to jump backwards. He's big. This bad boy is big, and he's angry. So our starting point, our beginning for Route 66, was very much around Oklahoma. And our first town within Route 66 was a town by the name of Elk City, which housed a stunning little Route 66 museum. So we thought, what better way to get an understanding of Route 66 and the surrounding area and a lot of its history.
Oh, this is all part of the museum. $5 each.
There are a couple of museums around Elk City dedicated specifically to Route 66. This one had been recommended to us from a newfound friend who just happened to live in Elk City also. She said maybe go and have a look and that'll give you a pretty good understanding of the area. It certainly did. It was really cool actually. It zoned right in on the early era of Route 66 and gave us a pretty clear understanding of what Route 66 was all about. We had only intended to stay at Elk City for a night. A couple of things changed our minds. One was some certain people we met. The other was the winds had drummed up to somewhere around 25 to 30 knots. And when you're driving an RV that's shaped like a brick in the wind, it's probably not preferable to be out there in really strong headwinds in a desert where there's nothing standing in the way of the wind that's hitting you. Elk City for us was an introduction to a true western town. It had some pretty cool history around it. It also carried the dust that you would see during a 25 knot wind across the desert. It made Elk City feel very authentic.
How does it feel?
Creatures from the Black Lagoon. Startling beyond belief in the screen's first underwater 3D thrill.
Back when we were in Oklahoma City a few days prior, we took the time out to go to a ranch sorting competition. It was the sort of thing that seemed to fit very well with the area. And while we were there, having absolutely no idea what a ranch sorting competition was about, we met a lovely person by the name of Kathy. And Kathy said, if you're down in Elk City, please take the time to call in. We would love to show you around our ranch. So we did call in, and it just so happened that Kathy was not only keen to show us around her ranch, she was keen to put us on the back of her horses. Horse riding is very high on my bucket list of things to do, or at least to try and do a lot better than what I am at the moment, which is not very good. Kathy was an absolute star and knew a lot about horses. She judged at the ranch sorting competition, and she could help me a lot.
Look, you look like a star. Already. Yeah, you just want to push down on it. Push your heels down and your toes up.
Is there any rhythm in my body, or I just have
No, you just sit there. Tongue trot. There you go. Wonderful. Don't lean to one side or the other. Just sit up straight. Just sit there. Just relax. There you go, Alpha. Just relax. Just let your body.
In fact, Kathy and her family were nothing short of amazing, and this was right and smack bang in the middle of horse riding territory. We could not thank Kathy enough, we could not thank her family enough. They not only put us in the middle of their horse ranch, but they also sat us down for dinner. And to add, they got Cindy on the back of a horse, a place where she had not been since she last fell off at the age of 11.
Okay, this is Miss Cindy, and she's riding Cisco. Cisco is a buckskin gelding that is 11 years old, and he's a sweetheart. He rides in parades, and he's had children, and he is absolutely took to Miss Cindy, so she is riding him around. She hasn't ridden a horse in a long time, so we're very, very, very proud of her. She was very brave today. She's doing a great job. Great.
Thank you so much, Kathy and Tommy. We could not be more appreciative if we tried.
What are you doing this morning, honey?
I've got a hole in my pants, honey.
A hole in your pants? Oh dear.
Yeah. But luckily I've found this patch.
Oh, show me the patch. What does it look like?
The patch is a very special patch that you can only use on this side of the world. going down this highway. This is the Route 66 patch.
Lovely.
And if you're ever at a loss whilst looking for somewhere to stay, well, there's always Walmart.
Alright, well we stayed at Walmart the last 2 nights and it wasn't bad and free. So thank you, Walmart.
Thank you to Elk City and of course Kathy's family for everything. You will remain in our hearts. Our next stop, of course, is Texas. Have you got any idea how big your horns are? Crossing into the Texan border was a pretty exciting time for us. Texas is a very well-known state, and we had met a few Texans on our journey. And what better way to enter Texas than Route 66?
Idiots.
After leaving Elk City, we'd also been advised that there was a really big cross on the Route 66 and it might be worth visiting. This particular site is very reminiscent of the sort of thing that you might strike on Route 66. It was pretty cool. And just in case we were feeling a little bit homesick, it just turned out that our next night's accommodation happened to be on Coulter Street, the same name as my surname. Yet another border took us into New Mexico. New Mexico is known as the Sunshine State. Appropriately, so is Queensland and Australia. I feel like if there's a desert, maybe it's a good thing to call it a Sunshine State. So we've made it to Russell's Travel Stop and Diner, which is just over the border from Texas in New Mexico. We noticed as soon as we got to somewhere around here, things started to get very remote and the landscape's looking a bit desolate. So we're looking out there at what starts to look like endless flat land, not a lot on it. The RV's over there to the right of it. And we're sitting in a very authentic American diner with Cindy and her cup of coffee.
And my carrot cake.
And look at that.
And we're going to be staying at a place called Tucumcari tonight, and that's where the Cars movie was set.
And why did they select Tucumcari for the Cars movie, do you think, Cindy?
Because it was on the original Route 66, so we're going to get off the I-40 to go there, and I think just because it's in the middle of nowhere.
We're very excited about Tucumcari. And here's our somewhat authentic American diner. As it turned out, this was more than an American diner. This was also a museum, and a pretty special one. It had some amazing relics in it, and to top it off, there was no door charge to get in, just simply your contribution.
I think we're coming up to a ravine, and the landscape's changed again.
After multiple nights on Route 66, you get that feeling that maybe you just want to slow the trip down a little bit. We were coming up to Tucumcari and we needed some accommodation for maybe 2 or 3 nights, and this little place was pretty cool. It also came with some very, very hazardous little things that get stuck in pretty well anything you stand on.
Getting long overdue clean, aren't you, Zoe? Hey?
And our somewhat faithful workhorse Zoe was due for some tender loving care.
Mike and the Zoe are all clean. Radiator Springs, which is actually Tucumcari little township.
One of them 2-bit, 1-horse towns.
A little bit of a ghost town these days.
And this thing in a very authentic American diner.
run down. Quite a bit run down, really.
It's one of them there a trading post, Sydney. It looks like nothing going on. Tucumcari was the town that Radiator Springs in the Cars movie was based around. It was a reminder of what happens when you remove a major highway from a town and the through traffic just slows down somewhat. I do have to say, however, they do give an exceptionally good haircut.
Can we make 7,000 feet?
Come on, baby, come on.
Mount Kosciuszko is 7,310 feet. Can we make 7,000? Come on, come on, come on!
Yeah!
A little bit of snow on the top of those mountains at the end of spring. Few trucks around. Oh.
It amazed us somewhat that even though we were not climbing mountains, we were certainly climbing altitude, and that is what happens when you drive Route 66 in the desert, thinking you're on a relatively flat road, but in fact you are eternally going up.
Park there, on our way to see horsey barrel racing.
Starting And eventually we made our way to Albuquerque, which is a pretty decent sized city in the middle of a pretty decent sized desert. And we took some time out to enjoy a newfound appreciation for horses and what they are capable of. In this case, barrel racing. Our accommodation in Albuquerque was yet another harvest host, in this case a beautiful little brewery. It also gave me the opportunity to hop on the motorbike and ride from what was 6,000 feet in Albuquerque to the top of a mountain which was only 45 minutes away. Well, there's a few amazing things about Albuquerque, and this has got to be one of them for me. It's if you look that way, that's desert, pretty well. That's heading east. That's heading the way we came from, over to where Radiator Springs is in New Orleans and the likes. And then you do an about turn, and you're in snow. And if you step over this mountain, you'll be back in the desert again. This peaks out at just over 9,000 feet, I believe. It's just a massive mountain in the middle of a desert. What's really hilarious about up here is I took up a bag of chips, and because I've gone up 3,000 feet, it's seriously inflated. This was also Easter, and a reminder that we were half a world away from our family and had been for quite some time. Thankfully, my loving wife put on a beautiful home-cooked roast. From Albuquerque, we once again were heading west, still following the I-40 and Route 66, taking us to yet another part of the New Mexico desert, which in this case was totally free and our accommodation for another few nights. In this case, a state park.
This is our campsite. It's lovely, and it's free. Mind you, it's really in the middle of not much, but it is serene, peaceful, and beautiful. And we're actually sitting on a cliff edge at the moment. I'll try and walk forward without tripping over. And there's the cliff, all the way down there. Well, here we are, somewhere in the desert, in the middle of New Mexico. We're actually sitting on a cliff edge, but Al reckons it's the best office he's ever had, don't you, honey?
I'm so impressed with this office. I really am. Yeah, I'm doing all my office work
Yeah.
here right at the moment,
Yeah.
which really is just
Video editing, but yeah, it's pretty cool. Not many clouds in the sky, and very peaceful.
We did manage to find 2 clouds, however. This part of the world was pretty cool. Remote, secluded, some stunning scenery. It was along the channels of what was a valley where a lava flow had actually poured all the way down from a volcano quite some time ago. It also had some stunning rock features. And if you took the time to just slow down, relax, and admire your surroundings, you started to see a lot of things that you had probably never seen when you first arrived. Simple things like the beauty of different sunlight or times of the day reflecting off the landscape. Right here in the middle of New Mexico, you can see down there is lava flow from 1500 years ago, apparently, I'm told, and it is stunning. West out over Mexico desert.
So we're just leaving our Joe Skeen campground in New Mexico and we're on our way to a petrified forest. And as you can see, we literally are in the middle of nowhere. But it's been peaceful, relaxing, and
We were going to miss Joe Skeen campground. It had been fantastic and free, but our sights were set on getting over to Sedona in the west and eventually the Grand Canyon. Unfortunately, the road that carried us there, the I-40, just continued to get rougher and rougher.
okay, so the second time on this trip, we've had our second flat tyre. So we're just checking the pressure of this new one that we got last time, and it's got to be 80 pounds per square inch. What you doing, honey?
Well, we have a flat tyre.
We have a flat tyre.
Luckily, we have a jack that works here. We bought a $40 hydraulic jack
Woo!
from Walmart, was it, I think?
I think it was, yeah.
And yeah, so just got to swap it over.
Yeah.
The drama we had last time is we couldn't jack the vehicle up properly.
Yeah.
It's got a mechanical jack. It didn't work very well. So this is going to make it a lot easier.
Yeah. Cool. Oh well, I suppose it's only the second one in this whole trip.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. It's not bad going.
Could have been worse, so
Absolutely.
awesome.
New Mexico had been fantastic, but eventually as we head west, we hit the Arizona border. And of course, Arizona is known for its state parks. Unfortunately, the highways did not get any better. In fact, the I-40 only got worse.
Trucks around. Okay, so we've just crossed the border into Arizona, and then we got another flat tyre. So that's our second one for the day, which is a bit unusual. And it's on my watch it says 5:15 at night, but we've just realised we've gone through another time zone. So it's actually only 4:15, so we haven't lost as much time as we thought today.
Which means that if we went to this Love's Truck Centre up here, they might have to change this tyre for us. Actually, that tyre place we're talking about.
Oh,
been warned by multiple people who were heading from the west to the east that we had spoken to about the condition of the I-40/Route 66. And looking at the side of the road, it was pretty obvious that we were not the only people to meet this tyre damaging fate. And you could only wonder, what are the local road crews thinking? And has it got anything to do with their marijuana laws? As a result, we did not make it to the petrified forest, unfortunately. We did, however, find this petrified log. Eventually, if you boondock for long enough, i.e. are not hooked up to sewage or water or power, you find a need to go and do so. In fact, it nearly feels like 5-star when you do. So our next stop was Homolobi, a state park in the middle of nowhere with electricity, sewage and water.
This is our campsite for tonight in Arizona. Sunset, I guess.
And if you follow the I-40/Route 66 far enough, you will eventually hit a beautiful little town at the foot of the Rocky Mountains called Flagstaff. Flagstaff would bring us to the end of this part of our Route 66 journey. It was also the turning point from remote deserts into the beautiful Rocky Mountains, and the opportunity for us to have another well-deserved beer. From here, we hooked up to Wi-Fi, got everything charged up again, and headed south to a place called Sedona.